Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, I'm set to complain about injuries, but not just complaining about them, looking into detail. Injuries have affected every single team in the world, especially the big teams. And in today's video, we're going to find out what big team has suffered the most this season throughout injuries. Is it Bayern Munich? Is it FC Barcelona? Is it Paris Saint-Germain? Is it Arsenal? Is it City? Is it Chelsea? Is it Liverpool? Or is it Madrid? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. So, starting off with Bayern Munich. As you can see, they've had some injuries this season. Ito basically been out so far this season. Davies and Musiala also been out. And they've had 75 games missed. And these are the players that have missed those 75 games. So Pavlovic, Urbig, Ito, Davies, Guerrero, Stanisic, Gnabry, Musiala, and Bischoff. Obviously, missing Davies and Musiala, they've still been able to compensate despite that, only losing one game so far this season. But apart from Davies and Musiala, Bayern really haven't had any bad injuries this season. Then taking a look at Chelsea FC, Colwill been out for the season, Isogu, Palmer has been out for a lot of games, Delap as well, Badiashile as well. And they've had 108 games missed through injury from their respective squad. Enzo Fofana, you got started like Palmer, you got Pedro Neto, Estevao, but these players only missed like 1-2 games here and there. Next up is Real Madrid. They've had Rudiger out, they had Ferland Mendy out, Carvajal and Trent we know of, some small ones to Camavinga, Bellingham and Endrick, and they've had a collective of 74 injuries so far this season. And as you can see, a lot of them are defenders. Militao, Huijsen, Rudiger, Alaba, Trent, Mendy, Carvajal. So they haven't had that many injuries, but they've had a lot when it comes to the defense. Next up is Liverpool FC. They've been... Okay, that's not Liverpool FC, but they've had 78 games missed through injury from their players. And you got players like Wirtz, you got Alisson, you got Frimpong, who's been out for a while, Gravenberch, and Isak. Next up is FC Barcelona. They've been missing Marc-André ter Stegen. What a huge miss that has been for FC Barcelona. Gavi, obviously with a huge injury. And then some other injuries here and there. Alejandro Balde, you got Christensen, you got Bernal, you got Pedri, you got Rafinha, you got Yamal, you got Lewandowski. Basically the entire team. And a lot of starters in the Barca team. Juan Garcia starter, Rafinha starter, Lewandowski, Pedri, Yamal. Fermin, Olmo competing for that starting spot. You got Balde, you got Frenkie de Jong. So Barca have suffered a lot of injuries this season. Next up is Arsenal FC. They haven't had that many injuries. They've had Kai Havertz and Jesus basically out for the entire season so far, with Jesus just returning. Some other injuries to Hincapie, Ødegaard, and Madueke as well. They've had a collective of 94 games missed throughout injuries so far this season. A lot of starters here as well, like Saliba, Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, Ødegaard. That's about it. Manchester City. How many have they had? They've had Calvin Phillips, Kovacic, Hosanov, Bettinelli, and some others, and collective 82 games missed through injuries so far the 2025-2026 season. And lastly but not least, Paris Saint-Germain, the team everyone is waiting for to see how many injuries they've had so far this season compared to other teams. As you can see here, the injuries, it doesn't look that big, and it isn't that big. Only 53 games missed through injury from this Paris Saint-Germain squad. But that's why we gotta go a little bit deeper. Here's the ranking. Chelsea with the most games missed through injury this season, 108. Look at these numbers. Injuries have never been this bad. I think it's because of the accumulation of games. I think it's also the high intensity. When you're running the entire game, your legs are gonna get cooked, and it's gonna get easier to get injured. 108 for Chelsea. Second is Barca, third is Arsenal, fourth is City, fifth is Liverpool, sixth is Bayern, seventh is Madrid, and eighth is Paris Saint-Germain, all the way down with only 52 games missed through injury for Paris Saint-Germain. A very little amount from Paris Saint-Germain compared to the other teams. You see there what I just put next to it? That is the size, the club size of the teams. And as you can see, Chelsea haven't really suffered as much through their injuries because they have such a big squad. They have a 31-man squad. No one even comes close to that. Paris Saint-Germain, on the other hand, alongside Barca, have the smallest squads. And all the other ones, 25, 26, are basically the same. Just Chelsea, they have an obscene amount of squad players in their squad. Now let's go a little bit more into detail to answer this question a little bit better. Let's start with Bayern Munich. 75 games missed through injury, and 43 of them have been through their starters, Pavlovic, Davies, and Musiala. But 32 of them have been for rotation players. So now we're getting the impact of the injuries. Yes, you can miss a lot of games, but it can be players, that you don't really care about, like Ito. I don't think a single Bayern Munich fan cares about Ito. So that hasn't been impactful. Taking a look at Chelsea, 108 games missed through injury. And here's the stats. 43 of them have been for starters, like Enzo, Fofana, Palmer, Neto, Colwill, and Estevao. And 65 have been for rotation. Achepong, Badiashile, Tosin, Lavia, Eguso, wherever his name was, Santos, and Delap. Real Madrid, how does the story look? 19 for starters only. That's it for Madrid, a very low number, and 55 for rotation. That has been Madrid's biggest injury issue so far this season. Their squad players have been getting injured, like Ferland Mendy, Carvajal, Rudiger, Alaba, Franco, Camavinga, and Endrick. And what's for the starters, they have all missed games, but not that much. The only one that is big is Trent, a little bit Huijsen and Bellingham in the beginning of the season. But Courtois, Militao, and Tchouameni have barely missed games so far this season. Taking a look at Liverpool FC, have they been missing a lot of games for their starters? Only 25 games through their starters, Frimpong and Alisson being the biggest ones. And then it's a lot of rotation players like Jones, like that Butuglia. I don't even know his name. Like, he never plays for Liverpool. He's been injured so far this entire season for them. So we can already see that number of games missed doesn't really go along with how impactful they are if they're gonna miss. Next up is FC Barcelona. 95 games missed through injuries, 41 when it comes to starters, and 54 to rotation. Really high number when it comes to starters. We saw a high number when it came to Bayern Munich in the beginning of the video. The thing with Bayern Munich is two players that have been basically out the entire season. Barca, it's so many players. It's basically their entire start. If you look at their starting 11, Kubarsi hasn't gotten injured. Koundé hasn't gotten injured. That's it for their starting 11. Basically, everyone else has gotten injured. And one thing you also got to take a note on when it comes to injuries, it's not just the games missed. It's then the games adapting to coming back to your best. For some players, it takes a couple of games depending on how long they were out and how bad the injury. So injuries have definitely affected Barca's starting 11, their big games, and all of that so far this season. Next up is Arsenal FC. 94 games missed, only 25 for starters. Saliba, Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, and Odegaard. Not missing that many games. Manchester City, before we come to Paris Saint-Germain, 82 games missed, 27 for starters. Obviously, Cherki had a little bit of an injury, but Rodri has been the biggest one, and it doesn't look like it will end anytime soon. I think Rodri is not physically washed, but that injury has affected him really badly. When you suffer an injury as magnitude as an ACL late in your career, it will affect you immensely. And we've seen that with Rodri at Manchester City. And then a lot of rotation players, as I mentioned, Calvin Phillips and Kovacic. They've been out for a very long time for City, but it hasn't been impactful negatively for their downfall. And last but not least, Paris Saint-Germain. 53 games missed through their players. How many starters? 47. Only 6 of the games missed we've had are through rotation players like Brady Barcola, Beraldo, and Sinimayolo. 47 for starters. Marquinhos, Nuno Mendes, Achraf Hakimi, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, and Ousmane Dembélé. The only 2 players missing from this is Lucas Chevalier. I mean, he's a goalkeeper. They rarely get injured. And it's Vitinha. I don't understand how Vitinha still hasn't gotten injured when everyone else has gotten injured, because Vitinha has played every single game so far this season, basically, every single minute, and he did the exact same thing last season, played at the Club World Cup, plays every single game with Portugal. His fitness levels are absolutely elite, and also he's not been unfortunate. Like, Hakimi also has insane fitness levels, but he was unfortunate with that Luis Diaz tackle and so on. But now, let's take a look at the ranking. As you can see, Paris Saint-Germain at the top in this middle graph right here. Paris Saint-Germain, 47 of their games missed have been from their starters. Then it's Chelsea 43, Barca 41, Bayern 43, City 27, Liverpool 25, and Arsenal and Madrid 19. So if we compare it to the list of games missed, you can see Paris Saint-Germain goes from 8th place when it comes to games missed, but goes to 1st place when it goes to games missed through starters. Chelsea, Barca keep their top spots, and then you see Arsenal moving all the way down from 3rd spot all the way to 7th spot. Then I want to add one more list right here, and this is how many starters have been injured. For Paris Saint-Germain and FC Barcelona, it's exactly the same. 8 players injured. Bayern, only 3. Then you have a lot of 5, a lot of 6. And then what I did an accumulated ranking of all of these rankings. So the first one is games missed. Second is games missed through starters. Third one is how many starters have been injured so far this season. And lastly, how big is your squad size? And now we've come to the number and to the answer. What team has mostly been negatively affected through injuries so far this season, according to my own calculation and my own ranking? And all of these stats were brought from Transfermarkt. I wouldn't say it's 100% the best, but definitely the best way to find out. It would be much harder if I didn't use that. And it's FC Barcelona. FC Barcelona take the top spot for the team that has been mostly negatively affected by injuries so far this season, with them an accumulated ranking of 9 points in my ranking. The lower you are, the worse injuries have affected you. They don't have the biggest squad side. They've had a lot of injuries, and a lot of those injuries have been for their starters, and which a lot of them have been injured. Then it's Paris Saint-Germain, then it's Chelsea, then it's Arsenal, then Bayern, Madrid, Liverpool, and City. So basically, Arsenal and City, none of those fan bases can complain to each other. They basically had similar amount of injuries with similar amount of impact. Obviously, how great squad depth you have will also affect how badly the injuries affect you. But this ranking, I think, it gives a great perspective. You got Chelsea there in the middle ground. But as I said, they have an insane squad depth, so it hasn't really affected them as much. And then you got Barca and Paris Saint-Germain at the top. Both teams have had a lot of injuries. Barca have had more players missing more games, but some of them haven't been, starters and so on, like Ter Stegen and Gavi and so on. But both of them have had a lot of their starters injured so far this season. But, Barca still first, Paris Saint-Germain close to first in Ligue 1, and Paris Saint-Germain have done well in the UCL. Barca have been a little bit mediocre, even though they've faced some tough teams, to be fair to them. And lastly but not least, this is points per game. So I wanted to look at the effect it's had on the teams in the European stage. So we can see that Bayern have the best points per game in the UCL and league combined. Then you got Arsenal, then you got Madrid, then you got Barca and PSG on a tie, then you got City, Chelsea, and Liverpool towards the end. So what we can take away from this is that Bayern ranked 5th, a little bit low in the ranking. The injuries really hasn't affected them. They've compensated well. They've gotten a lot of points. Arsenal as well, they're in the middle. They've been well enough. Madrid as well, they've been well enough. And then you got PSG and Barca on the exact same point tally per game in La Liga and UCL, Liga and UCL combined respectively for the both teams, which is very interesting to take a look at. But that finishes off the video. This video took me a little bit of time to do this research, but I'm very happy I did this research because it gave me a great explanation on who has been mostly negatively affected by injuries so far this season. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That's been it from boy PSG, and as usual, allez Paris.